Hello and welcome to Dancepreneur TV, and in this interview we are so honoured to have the pleasure of interviewing the founder and creator of IDS, Miss Anne Walker.
Thank you so much, Anne, for willing to come and do an interview with us. Okay, so we just want to start by introducing yourself really, and if you can just briefly explain basically what you're passionate about, who you are, what you're about, that'd be great.
Okay, so I'm Anne Walker. I am the founder and the CEO of International Dance Supplies. We are a mail order, a multi-channel and mail order business selling into the dance industry. So we sell to dance teachers, dance retailers, dance companies and vocational schools around the world. And we've been doing that for 35 years. We are currently celebrating our 35th birthday.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. So I started life as a dance teacher, but I suppose my story starts before then. Actually, my passion started when I was only 8 years old, and my mother took me to see the Sleeping Beauty on stage at the Royal Court Theatre in Liverpool, and I was utterly entranced and fell in love with ballet. Begged to be taken to dance classes, which my mother duly did, and really from that moment, first of all, it became my hobby. Dance then completely took over my life as I trained as a dancer and then opened my school, and I can honestly say many years on now, it's actually still my passion. So I started my dance school. I left school at only 16 and went to Sheila Elliott Clark College in Liverpool, where I trained as a dance teacher. And at the age of only 17, I actually started my own dance classes, started with just 8 students in a church hall in Liverpool. And gradually the school grew, but clearly I'm going back a very long time. And in those days, it was very hard to get nice fitting leotards, lycra, or lycra, so the leotards really didn't fit very well at all. I'd always sold leotards and shoes to my students, and of course also had to make my own costumes for shows because you couldn't buy them ready-made. And one day a friend who made the costumes with me, she and I sat down and decided we could probably make a leotard rather than just making costumes. And so we did, we started to make leotards. My students loved them. They were named after my students. The first leotards that we made were called after my own girls. At dancing, and of course my friends were all dance teachers, and so they would come to my shows and go, "Oh, wow, I love the leotards. Where did you get them?" And so I'd say, "Well, we made them." The next question was, "Could you make some for me?" Yeah. And we did, and I guess the rest is history.
Tell us, Anne, about the journey of IDS then. So obviously you started IDS when you moved to Devon. How long ago was that, and how has it grown today?
Right, okay, so I started IDS in 1978. That's when it became an official company rather than just something, part of the dancing school. And so I ran it in Liverpool, first of all, and then eventually, as I say, I moved to Devon and rented a small industrial unit. It was a very small one, and there was just me and the sewing machines, and basically I did everything, with my mother occasionally coming in to pack leotards. And actually my mother does play quite a large part in the story, because she did believe in me in the early days when nobody else did. And when I realised that the leotards were being bought by more than just my own very close friends, until then I've been using a domestic sewing machine, and clearly it was on its last effects by now. And so my mother lent me £50, which in those days was a huge amount of money, and I bought a very old industrial overlocking machine and started to make the leotards on that. So when I moved to Devon, I had that machine, and I bought some others, and I continued to use the old machine along with the new ones. Yeah. And today, in our very modern, very smart headquarters in Pride of Place, in the reception area, is that original.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's restored, it's all smart and shiny, and it stands there. So every day I'm reminded of where
the beginning, where it all started.
Yes, and hopefully I don't ever get too big for my boots, but if I do, that brings me back down to earth.
So
it started off with myself and my mother, and then gradually I took on some machinists, and I took on a YTS trainee, as they were in those days, but basically we were still manufacturing, and that was all we did. But gradually, those teachers and retailers who we were supplying started to ask us if we could supply shoes as well, because we were obviously creating a very good, fast turnaround service with the dance wear. So they asked us, could we do shoes? So we started to wholesale ballet shoes and tap shoes, and then gradually a few little accessories, and then some costumes. And really, the business has just grown. Obviously, because I was a dance teacher, I knew what teachers were looking for. I knew what they needed in their schools, whether it was for everyday or whether it was for exams or shows. So over time, we introduced various things that I believed was going to help the dance teachers in their business. And also, we have listened to our customers, and so if people repeatedly asked us for things over the years, we simply introduced them into the range, and that has now ended up with this huge range that we have currently got.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've seen your catalogue, Anne. It's chunky.
It's growing every year, isn't it? Each edition. What would you say, Anne, was your most celebrated achievement to date?
Oh, golly. Well, I think there's a lot. But probably the greatest one is the fact that we now supply into the dance industry in 50 countries worldwide, including most of the great associations and some of the best ballet schools in the world. In fact, we supply the Royal Ballet School with all their JA leotards. We supply English National Ballet School. We work with Elmhurst. We supply all of the American Ballet Theatre training. Not only the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis School in New York, but also we supply the garments for their training program throughout the world. So I think it's actually having all those great names working with us that's probably the greatest achievement.
And that's amazing. And so for a lot of other dancepreneurs which are maybe watching this video right now, they're probably getting really inspired the fact that you've been able to take your business international.
Yeah.
So what would you say? How would one do that? Take their business international? Is it just a case of having communication and building relationships with other dancepreneurs?
Well, I think one of the great assets of being in this industry and being in Britain is that so many dance teachers either train or aspire to train in the UK.
Right.
And certainly in the very early days, I didn't set out to take my business into Italy, say. But what happened was that teachers would be in this country to do their training and then go back to their own country. They would have seen our catalogue while they were here, so they took it back with them. And then they would contact us from Italy or Germany or wherever and say, can you supply us? And we always said yes.
Okay, that's really interesting.
And then obviously from then you thought, well, actually you've got quite a high client demand internationally, and then you was able to do joint ventures with other international companies and schools.
Yes, that's right. And the exception where we actually set out to work in a specific country was America, where we decided that we needed to do things differently, and so we needed to set up a website that was in dollars. And we've now got websites in euro as well as obviously sterling, but we set up a separate website in dollars, and we launched a slightly different catalogue in America, and we made sure that we had a very big American presence. So we always go to all the major dance conventions in America, and we exhibit there we work with people over there if we can. We sponsor events. We were the very first non-US company to join the UDMA, which is the United Dance Merchants of America, and we were very proud to be the first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And indeed, I spent 2 years on the board of the UDMA, which also was very. I was very proud to take IDS into America like that. And when we were there celebrating our first birthday of the launch in America, we were approached by American Ballet Theatre to produce their training program uniform.
You've actually been awarded some great achievements yourself in terms of
yes,
like the MBE and
the company itself has won lots of awards within the mail order industry and various other awards. I've been very lucky to win the first Women Award a couple of years ago, and then an Every Woman Entrepreneur Award, which was fantastic, and then my greatest achievement, I suppose, was being awarded an MBE in 2010 for service to business. But I'm very conscious that I have only been the recipient of these great accolades because of the support I've had, because my team here have been so supportive. I've been able to go and do other things, to work with other people. That's enabled me to receive these accolades.
So what advice would you give, say, someone watching this video who's thinking of, I don't know, setting up something to do with, I don't know, dancewear, or maybe not something like identical to what you're doing, but something similar, like maybe opening a merchandise shop or something like that. What advice could you give someone who's going to go into sort of demand and supply of clothing or garments? Or
well, anybody who's setting up any sort of business in any field, the greatest piece of advice I would give them is that you can't grow bigger than your dreams. Because I think it's absolutely essential that you have a dream, and then you've got something to strive towards. And I think the other thing is that actually you've got to be very brave. And so I'm not being specific about the dance industry, because I actually think the same thing applies, really.
So if you can dream, you can achieve.
Yeah, definitely. So what's your bigger dream then, Anne? I mean, I don't think you've quite reached it yet. I'm sure your dream's much bigger than what we're seeing.
You've got to keep having one, and you might need to keep dreaming bigger and better. And so my dream really is we've got incredibly sound roots here now with IDS, a very, very great basis from which to almost do anything. But I think for us the key thing is to remember what we're really, really good at, and we are incredibly good at servicing our customers wherever they are in the world very quickly. We service them from stock, and for me that's the key thing, that we should continue to do that. We might continue to develop the countries that we supply into, and indeed that is definitely one of our most important areas of potential growth, the international business. But we've got to do it with the same amazing customer service. So it's got to be delivered from stock, it's got to be delivered very quickly by people who feel as passionate as I do, because it's very easy for me to be passionate about IDS. I started it, but in fact almost everybody that you speak to within IDS has that same passion and that same determination to get the product to the customer as soon as they possibly can.
Wow, that's really great. So I understand, Anne, as well, not only have you done on doing IDS, but you also have a conference coming up.
Yes.
The International Dance Teachers Conference, happening in August.
That's right. Our tagline at IDS is more than just a dancewear company, because we do try to help educate the teachers, help to make people's businesses better for themselves, whether they're retailers, whether they're teachers, or whether they are vocational schools. We try to work with them as much as we can to make life better and easier for them. And one of the things that I've wanted to do since being a teacher myself, I was lucky in that I taught with some great assistants, but many teachers teach on their own. It's a very lonely life. You feel you've got all the problems, you've got all the difficult parents, all the challenging children and situations. And it's only when you meet other teachers that you realise that actually you've all got the same problems, wherever in the world your school is. And so our international conference is truly international. We bring together teachers from all over the world, including this year we've got teachers coming from Australia, from America, all over Europe. We've had teachers from Indonesia and Japan, and they all have the same problems and challenges. And it's fantastic for them to see them making friends with teachers from around the world and starting to work together. And we also bring faculty from around the world, so we're able to inspire people. We hold it at the Royal Ballet School. It's an incredibly inspirational building. We take over the whole of the Royal Ballet School, so we use all their studios. We turn one of the studios into an IDS showroom, so we take many of our costumes and accessories so people can have the whole IDS experience. And we, as well as practical teaching, we also have wonderfully inspiring events. Like last year we had Dame Monica Mason teach, a coach I should say, one of the young dancers from the Royal Ballet Company, which was just the most incredible experience. So we do lots of things like that, business seminars, things that are going to help the teacher, to inspire them, to encourage them to innovate in their own schools. And it's an annual event. It is held at the Royal Ballet School in Covent Garden, and this year it's August the 5th to the 8th. So we're hoping to see lots of people there.
Fabulous. And as your business has grown and developed, do you feel that you've changed?
Yes, I'm sure I have. I'm sure I'm not necessarily certain I've changed for the better. I think the longer you're in business, you know, you have to change. You have to become a harder person. But I've certainly changed, and obviously in 35 years I've changed enormously. And the business has helped me to change. I mean, through the business, I've had amazing experiences of travelling. I've enabled other people in the business to travel as well, which I think has been great. So I think a lot of us have changed over the years. I think it has changed me. I'm not sure it's for the better, but the ethos of IDS is that we do unto others. And so I sincerely hope that that I still have that ethos in my heart.
Excellent. So where do you see the dance industry going? Do you feel it's changing, or?
Well, I think it has changed, if only because there are now so many different forms of dance, and constantly I think dance is reinventing itself. It's also great that because of so many television programmes of whatever sort of dance, it's okay to talk about dance now. And so I think dance has done a very good job of evolving, and most dance teachers have also done the same. And the business has certainly changed. Obviously, the internet has changed that. I think there's also a lot of great retailers out there who've also had to change their business model, and I think they too have done a great job. So the dance industry has changed, and I think it will continue to go on doing so, because there are always going to be new young teachers with new ideas.
Yeah, I suppose as someone running their business, you've got to also be one step ahead and predict these changes, and you found that you've had to do that.
Yeah, and that's where, with the conference, we really try and help the teachers to see that, and perhaps realise the benefits of trying something, because although we hold it at the Royal Ballet School, we still do street classes and hip-hop, and we try and do the sort of thing that teachers might perhaps come back from the conference feeling inspired to try a different form of dance, or something like Pilates.
Yeah.
So that's had never included, but could become quite a good revenue stream for them.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Anne, for this interview.
You sum up the word?
Yeah, there's just one last thing we'd love to ask you. If you could sum up your business or your career, or however you want to do it, in one word, what would it be?
Can I go for 3 rather than 1?
Yes, of course.
we did think you might need more than one word, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because the 3 words that I would use, it's what I've always tried to do and what we as a business try and do. And those 3 words are inspiration, innovation, imagination.
Fantastic.
They run through the catalogue. They are actually etched on the windows of our showroom here. They're around the walls because we try and inspire each other within the business. I've got 60 staff who all work together incredibly well, and we try and inspire each other as well as our customers. We constantly try and innovate, whether it's within the business or for our customers. And it's essential that we encourage our teachers to use their imagination with products and their shows and things.
Great. Thank you so much, Anne. And where can people go to find out more about your products and services? What's your website?
The website is www.ids.co.uk. Anybody can have a look at it, but if you want to find lots of information or actually prices, then you will need to register as a teacher or a retailer in order to log in.
Okay, great. And for the Dance Teachers Conference?
Actually, if you go to ids.co.uk, there is a link that you can go straight to the conference from that.
Fabulous. All right, well, thank you so much, Anne. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to with you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye.